We all know the Academy isn't perfect. They've chosen some questionable winners, and perhaps more importantly, overlooked some very worthy performances. Hey, it's Michael, aka Oscar Man, and I want to call attention to some Oscar worthy performances that I think the Academy missed. Several you will be familiar with, and a few others may be considered obscure. But I know you have your own list that you will share as well. The first on my countdown put the I in iconic. Everyone knows this one. From a 1939 perspective, I can understand why Margaret Hamilton's legendary performance in The Wizard of Oz wasn't nominated. The Academy tended to go for nice characters, those they felt comfortable with. And though its star Judy Garland was awarded a special juvenile Oscar, the film had plenty of supporting performances that could have been nominated. Oscar winner Gail Sondergaard was the first choice for the role, but she bowed out because she wanted to play a glamorous, evil queen-style witch, not the ugly version. Margaret Hamilton brilliantly transformed the evil Miss Gulch into the much more evil and scary Wicked Witch of the West. Who wasn't scared of her when they watched The Wizard of Oz as a child? I'm scared of her now.
But that's not what's worrying me. It's how to do it. These things must be done delicately.
Hamilton even interjected some humor into this villain.
I'm frightened. Come back. Come back.
I'll give you any advice.
And was
Said,
immortalized
they're
for
sort of
her work.
interested in you for a part in The Wizard of Oz. And I said, oh, gosh, think of that. I said, I loved that story from the time I was 4 years old. What is it? And he said, well, the witch. And I said, the witch? And then he said the final thing. He said, yes, what else?
Simply put, The Wizard of Oz would not have become a classic without her contribution. If we had 1939 to do all over again, Margaret Hamilton would be among the 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actress. Another iconic performance was given by Robert Preston in The Music Man. Would this film, or the Broadway production in which Preston originated the role, have ever succeeded without him? Preston was Professor Harold Hill. He was the film. All of the energy and rousing excitement of this 1962 musical landed squarely on Preston's shoulders.
In a table, pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool.
Co-star Shirley Jones was lovely, but the title wasn't The Librarian. Though Robert Preston did receive a nomination for his wonderful work in Victor Victoria, I think The Music Man will remain the role for which he is most remembered. Oh, I need to mention that the performances I'm discussing in this video aren't meant to be in place of another nominee in that particular year. For example, I'm not suggesting that one of the Best Actor nominees of 1962 should have been replaced with Preston. Moving on. If you loved Glenn Close's performance in Fatal Attraction, then you must, if you haven't already, check out Jessica Walter in Play Misty for Me. This 1971 film was the primer for some future stories about stalkers and their prey. Clint Eastwood made his directorial debut with this scary thriller, and though he also starred in the film, it was Walter's terrifying portrayal of a woman's obsessive and violent behavior that received most of the attention.
I don't understand. Are you trying to say you don't love me anymore?
I never told you that I loved you.
Well, not in words, maybe, but Dave, there are lots of ways of saying things that have nothing to do with words.
It's funny you read it that way.
It's that other bitch, isn't it?
Lee Remick was the studio's first choice, but fortunately, Jessica Walter was given the opportunity to demonstrate her prowess in a tricky role. It's easy to play a character like this as one-dimensional. However, a good actor, like Walter, went beneath the surface And though the script didn't exactly venture into any kind of deep psychological analysis, she gave enough of an impression that this woman's diagnosis would have been borderline personality disorder.
What am I supposed to do? Sit here all dressed up in my little horse suit waiting for my lord and master to call?
Nobody asked you to wait for anything.
You're not jumping me, Buster Blue Eyes.
Get off my back, Evelyn.
Get off your back. That's where you've been keeping me, isn't it? You're nothing! You're not even good in bed! I just felt sorry for you, that's all! Bastard! You poor, pathetic bastard!
Though Jessica Walter received a Golden Globe nomination, she also should have been in the Oscar race that year. Although Barbara Hershey received a Best Supporting Actress nomination for Portrait of a Lady, I think some of her best performances have been overlooked. In 1986's Hannah and Her Sisters, Diane Wiest got the lion's share of attention and went on to win the first of her 2 Oscars. Yet Barbara Hershey was equally good as Lee, whose story was at the center of the film. Her scene partner, Michael Caine, also won the first of his 2 Oscars as her married lover. Yet for some reason, Hershey was forgotten at Oscar time.
Oh, speaking of records, I bought that Mozart trio you recommended, and the man in the record shop showed me another one that I think you'd love. It's another Bach, second movement.
Oh, you have that one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Oh, and Holly met a wonderful man who loves opera, an architect.
I think Barbara Hershey was also memorable in 2010's Black Swan. Interestingly, that performance, as well as her one in Hannah and Her Sisters, earned her nominations for a BAFTA award. I hate to mimic every other article written about Oscar omissions, but honestly, how can I not mention Anthony Perkins in Psycho? Again, talk about iconic. I don't know if this was a good or bad thing for the actor, but the role of Norman Bates stuck with Perkins for the remainder of his career. Notwithstanding Alfred Hitchcock's direction, Bernard Herrmann's chilling score, and Janet Leigh's shower gone wrong, Psycho would never have succeeded without Perkins' deft, underplayed portrait of, let's say, a misunderstood man-boy whose mother was less than maternal.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother. You've never had an empty moment in your entire life, have you?
Only my share.
Where are you going? I didn't mean to pry.
2 bits of trivia. Perkins didn't appear until 27 minutes into the film. And remember Ted Knight from the Mary Tyler Moore Show? He had a bit part at the end of the film. I'm going to run through several more performances I think should have been nominated, 2 of which were part of outstanding ensembles. Eileen Brennan was excellent as the waitress Genevieve in 1971's The Last Picture Show. Though Brennan earned a BAFTA nomination, her performance was overshadowed by Ellen Burstyn and Cloris Leachman. Henry Gibson, as singer Haven Hamilton, wrote the song Keep A Goin' for 1975's Nashville. Gibson received a Golden Globe nomination for one of his best performances. 1967 was a banner year for Oscar winner Sidney Poitier. He appeared in 3 major films, 2 of which received a combined total of 17 Oscar nominations, but it was his moving performance as the inner-city teacher in To Sir with Love that should have brought him a Best Actor nomination. Perhaps Academy members split the votes between these 3 films, and that explains why Poitier was shut out. Based on a true story, 1978's Midnight Express starred the wonderfully talented Brad Davis. The film received 6 Oscar nominations, but its star had to settle for recognition at the Golden Globes and BAFTA Awards. For my money, Dominic Sessa gave the best performance in 2023's The Holdovers. He not only should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but he should have won that year. 1964's One Potato, Two Potato couldn't find a distributor until its star, Barbara Barry, won the Best Actress award at the Cannes Film Festival. This was a moving film about a then taboo subject, interracial marriage, and many, including myself, believed that Barry deserved an Oscar nomination. 1955's Picnic is one of my favorite films. Okay, sure, William Holden was too old for the role of Hal, but nonetheless, he was still William Holden. And Kim Novak may have been physically right as Madge, but the part was above her pay grade at the time. None of this really matters, though, because Rosalind Russell stole the film as spinster schoolteacher Rosemary. I've always said that Russell was equally adept at comedy and drama, and this part gave her the opportunity to show her versatility.
That's when they call me the dancing fool.
Mighty pretty legs.
Oh, that's just like you men. Can't talk about anything but women's legs.
I just noticed they had a nice shape.
How would you like it if we women went around talking about your legs all the time?
All right.
Picnic was a critical and box office success, earning 6 nominations, including Best Picture. Columbia Pictures president Harry Cohn had cast Russell instead of Eileen Heckert, who originated the role in the Broadway play, because the former was an established and popular screen name. Cohn was ready to initiate a Best Supporting Actress campaign for Russell, confident that her performance would bring her a long-awaited Oscar.
You're not yourself tonight.
Yes, I am. I'm more myself than I ever was. I see what's in store for me. After you, someone else, then someone else, then take me with you, Howard. If you don't, I don't know what I'll do with myself. I mean it.
But Russell immediately put the kibosh on his plans, allegedly telling Cohn, "I've been a star for a good many years, and I don't intend to change to a supporting actress now, simply in hopes of winning an Oscar." Russell may have been too short-sighted, because her 4 Best Actress nominations did not result in a win. In my opinion, an Oscar is an Oscar, right? I want to discuss 2 additional performances by a pair of legendary stars in films that are pretty obscure. But before I do, I want to offer my thanks to each of you for taking the time to watch this video. Your participation helps to make this channel a fun place to learn about Oscar's long, often curious history. After the video concludes with a special message for you from an Oscar winner, I would appreciate it if you would hit the like button and become a subscriber if you're not already. That way you won't miss each new weekly video. Plus, you can cast your votes in the daily polls. I love Lucy. But before she created the unforgettable character of Lucy Ricardo, Lucille Ball starred in more than 75 films. Ball bounced around as a contract player at various studios like RKO and MGM, and most of her film work consisted of starring roles in B-movies or throwaway bits in major films to justify her weekly paycheck. However, 1942's The Big Street, while not a major success, gave Lucy the role of a lifetime. And if you've never seen this film, here's a warning. She ain't funny, lovable Lucy in this one.
Deliberately. You planned it like this. You don't want me to get out of this chair.
Please, Your Highness.
Button your lip.
Please, Your Highness, you mustn't get upset. Everything's gonna be all right now. I got a job now. I'll make it up to you. I swear I will.
You'll make it up to me. You got a job. What kind of a job? As what?
The Big Street is an implausible melodrama that requires the viewer to suspend disbelief and just accept its plot contrivances. The film was plagued with production problems, and upon its release, RKO relegated it to a second bill of a double feature. Though The Big Street was quickly forgotten, it is considered Lucille Ball's best film performance. She will surprise you here.
I got on a dress, see? It's white net and very long, and all over it are little diamonds that shine. And it's very tight in the bodice. And my shoulders are all bare. And I got my hair up like this. And when I walk in, I make all the dames look like last year's model. and all the guys would give a year's salary just to dance with me.
Check out her performance in The Big Street as Gloria, and you'll understand why Lucy's one chance at an Oscar nomination should have materialized. Burt Reynolds was one of the biggest movie stars of the 1970s and 80s. Because of his poor choices, his career suffered later on, though he did receive a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for 1997's Boogie Nights. I liked that film, but I never understood the raves for his performance. One of his final appearances was in The Last Movie Star, released in 2018. Though this film was not a biography, it was written with Reynolds in mind, and there are several similarities between the actor and his on-screen character, Vic Edwards. Both are in poor health, were once major movie stars whose glory days are behind them, and they shabbily treated the women in their lives. Though the film was far from great, Reynolds was quite moving, as he bared his personal flaws through his character's displays of poor judgment and regrettable behavior.
I think you've got it all figured out right now.
Well, I just crazy, thanks.
But listen to me. You're on a collision course. You're about to make a lot of bad life decisions.
Really?
I can help you before you throw it all away.
Though Burt Reynolds passed away several months after the film's limited release, I think it would have been a fitting tribute to recognize this notoriously difficult but talented actor with a posthumous Oscar nomination.
You got to do things and see things that most people just dream about.
Oh, yeah.
Where did it all go, man? And what does any of it mean? After all these years, I still can't figure it out. What the game's about.
Survival. Who has the ability to survive? That's the game.
Yeah. Well, I'm surviving. Barely.
Now that you've seen my short list, which performances do you think were overlooked for an Oscar nomination and why? I'm pretty sure about some of those names. So until the next video, I'll leave you with this.
If you can get to be old enough, you get to be new again.